would you highlight about this publication?
In clinical practice, physicians used to capture the history of their patients within the electronic health records. Therefore, the electronic health records is an amazing source for knowing real-world data. In that sense, Savannah has developed a scientific methodology to apply artificial intelligence to extract all the clinical variables from the electronic health records, generating real-world evidence. But in that sense, we do not have no guidance of how to evaluate the quality of the data extracted. So in this area where we are introducing this new methodology, it is really important for clinicians and research colleagues to really trust the methodology that we have and to have external evaluation for natural processing language systems. What do you think about that, Sebastian?
I totally agree with your opinion. I think the main message of our publication is that the evaluation of methodologies is super important for not only clinical natural language processing systems applied in clinical research and practice, but I think this holds true for any other AI system applied, that we need to make sure that the performance is tested and validated to ensure that errors are being avoided and to maintain the high level of quality that is expected in this field.
Why is it so important to have a standardized, repeatable, gold standard methodology for clinical NLP?
I think the only real way to assure that clinical natural language processing systems reach the expected performance is to compare them against the ground truth created by medical doctors. In our publication, we provide a step-by-step methodology how this can be achieved so that any researcher, any data scientist in a corporation can achieve this goal.
How do you think higher quality real-world evidence will impact clinical research in the future?
Real-world evidence is essential to define clinical research. It describes how patients behave in the clinical setting. We have in another way clinical trials, and patients may behave different in that situation. That's why both information is necessary to really impact clinical research. So both real-world evidence and clinical trial information are becoming a strong partnership in order to really define how we really need to do clinical research. In the past, when we talk about real-world evidence, what was happening is that we use structured data, and most of this structured data come from ICD codes, for example. But now, with NLP, we have an amazing opportunity to really extract with no limits and in an homogeneous way all the clinical variables. And with that, we can really impact real-world evidence and change medical practice.
Why is it so important that data scientists and doctors work together?
To achieve clinical natural language processing tools of quality, the cooperation of natural language processing scientists and medical doctors is super important. Only if those two groups talk with each other, we can achieve what we want to achieve in terms of quality and delivering useful tools in medical research and practice.
In that sense, if we are talking about this kind of project, the multidisciplinary work between technicians and doctors, it is mandatory. We need to really introduce all the knowledge from the technology part and apply it to what we really need in the clinical setting, because what we want is to really improve at the end patients' outcomes. So it is really amazing how we can work together and learn from one side to another. So working in a multidisciplinary team makes these things finally happen.